we're going to go over the basics here. So the 6 ideas to get you started are project creation, sharing projects, organizing projects, pickup packet creation, and annotation efficiency, and then the pronunciation guide, tips and tricks for script preparation. If you haven't actually created a project yet in Pozotron, it's super easy, and I'm going to show you what that process looks like. The first time you log in, you'll have an empty page like this, but you'll have a Create New Project button. When you hit it, you'll be able to put in a project title, some identification, a due date if you'd like, and then you hit a button to upload a transcript. And I have a transcript ready here to open, and you say create. This new title opens up a new project on here. And when it's ready, you can click in and upload your audio. So inside here, it says drag and drop, which you can do as well. So I have a few files ready here. WAV files, MP3s, and FLAC files all work. And you select your files and drag them over. And that is as easy as it gets for creating a project and putting narration in there. It takes a few minutes to do the processing, and then it will give you your next screen. Audrey raised her hand. Let's see if we can do this. Hi, Audrey.
Hi.
Oh, it worked.
How does this work with textbooks, especially if you're reviewing an entire textbook? Do you have to break it down by audio file and chapter, or however the breakdown is?
So
Which would mean we'd have to kind of extrapolate the entire textbook into sections. So
Nope.
just wondering about that.
Just one script, all of your text in one place. It doesn't really even matter how long it is. It can be a huge textbook, and it's that single manuscript upload at the beginning. And then you will upload your audio in sections, no longer than 2 hours a piece, and it will automatically find where it is in the text.
Okay, and then what about if our conventions have us reading items that are not in the flow of text? So if it's a non-text item, we usually read those in the margins or after primary text. How does that work if our conventions don't align necessarily with
if your
the flow of the book?
conventions don't align, which happens every once in a while with photos, captions, footnotes, and things like that, it will note them, but you can just ignore them. So you will have a reference always to the original manuscript. You can click and see what it looked like on the way in. So if there are things in the margins on a PDF, it'll show them in your pictures and everything, and it will flag them inside the proofing, and you just ignore them.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Ah, look, that worked, having people raise hands. So you can see it uploaded the first one, and it says there's 3 annotations ready. And now it's step 1 of 5, transcoding this other part. This usually takes a few minutes, so I have another one that's already done. And so this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 files, and it tells you the status, how many annotations it thinks there are, and how many that you've checked. Let me go back here to make sure. So project creation, script and audio uploading. Does anyone else have any questions? Just that 2-step process right there. Steve.
Yeah, annotations are what? Errors or discrepancies?
Yep.
Okay,
Annotations are, Pozotron will find literal discrepancies.
okay,
So anything that doesn't match up with the text that it comes in with the narration, that's what it'll show an annotation for.
okay,
And we also have a few annotations for spaces that it thinks are too long. So anything longer than 2.5 seconds, it'll say, hey, did you intend to have this in here?
okay.
Cool.
Thanks.
Okay. So sharing projects is another basic thing. After you've gone through and made all of your annotations, or even if you just want to share the project with other people on your team, there's a button right here, and you can say view and edit or just view. And so this gives you a chance to share with other engineers, the narrator, the producer, anyone that you want can come look at it. So that's the sharing setting. Organizing projects. So titles and chapter files. We have recently made it so that you can adjust titles if you accidentally named something wrong. So new again. And so this helps a lot with project management, that you can retitle titles of your whole project, and you can also retitle individual chapters. So re-upload. That's a nice basic to be aware of. Pickup packet creation. So after you're all done, there's a couple different ways to communicate results, what is in the pickup packet. And to do the results, I guess we can look. I'll show you what it looks like when you're checking annotations. So when you hit open proofing, over on the left, it will say where all the discrepancies are or all the things that you should check. So for example, there's one of those pauses I was talking about, 2.7-second pause. So you can listen here.
A lazy snail. In the lower part of the meta.
And if that feels too long, you can say that's a pickup. And then you can spot check some of the other things that it says might be an issue. So this says word inserted just.
Plenty of resting spells when you could just lie in the shade.
And so you can see where the narrator, me in this case, said just lie instead of lie. And you can decide as a proofer, is that okay? Is that something that needs to get fixed? Or is that a pickup? So everything that you say, whether it's a pickup or it's okay or it's a typo, will eventually go in the report that you export. Any questions about that so far? I can show you a little bit where the sensitivity level is as well. So it says word missing how.
He kept thinking he would like some of the new
That I definitely missed it, so that's a pickup.
hotter. The clouds which blew across the sky.
Now I hear blue and Pozotron heard glue. So you can think, is that a stumble?
Clouds which blew across the sky.
Sounds okay with me, so I would say okay. Next one.
Which blew across the sky, kept the rain until they were.
So am I saying kept the rain or kept their rain?
Sky kept the rain until they.
I'd say that's close enough to there for okay for me.
One thing is sure, the meadow people who helped him.
So Positron heard metal when I heard meadow, and if I say, okay, I think I should enunciate that better, I'll say that that's a pickup. So each one of these things that I'm marking as a pickup will go in the eventual pickup packet. Any questions about where that is set? Okay. And so when you get around to creating your pickup packet, there's a few different ways to do it. There are proofing reports and then there are pickup packets. The proofing reports are familiar to anyone who's done the QC process, and they end up looking like this. You have your tags. The project time is how far into the chapter or the whole book, depending on your settings, what the actual pickup is, and then the context around it. anyone who's used Smartsheet or Excel to do this kind of reporting knows what kind of a pain it is to copy and paste all of these things. So with Pozotron, all you have to do, each one of these is just one click. So proofing reports are automatic and simple and very detailed. So it really is a huge time saver. And you can even have, if you're splitting the report up into pieces, if you tag the narrators, it will give each narrator a separate report. And a new feature we have is anything that you mark as a typo will go on a second page if you want to send that back to the author or the producer as well. So the proofing report tab is over the whole book, and then these are split depending if you wanted to be just send one part to your engineer or your narrators. And then the pickup packets are a separate function as well. So we'll go export, pickup packet, and we'll do the online version relative to the start of the book. So that's where we want our timestamps in case you have the whole book laid out in a single track. You want the timestamps related as it is in sequence. And we'll say current sentence, and then you export it, and you have this scrollable version where it tells you how many pickups there are, how many were custom comments by the proofer, and how many came through Pozotron. And it gives you this nice scrollable layout with an attached MP3 that you can play back as a noise match, or a voice match rather. And then the context, a page, a half a page up and a half a page down per pickup.
Enjoy learning how the accuracy checking system works and what it can do to help make you more efficient and accurate and save you money and time in the process.
So it should be money and time, and I said time and money. And every narrator and producer has a different way of re-recording these and putting them in their sessions. So it's very flexible how you want to use all of these things together. You can have people log on to the original project, you can use the proofing report, and you can use these pickup packets. So that's a lot of information really quick for beginners. And annotation efficiency. This is a little bit of a different way to work. So when you're doing your annotation system, you have to kind of decide how to approach it. So if you're doing custom annotations, for example, if chapter 4 was missing, you can double click and drag, and you hit the bubble, and you say misread, which starts with an M, click, tab, missing chapter title, tab, save it, and now you have a custom annotation that'll show up on the report. So the things that are underlined in red are from Pozotron, and things that are underlined in orange are what you put in. For example, if this was a wrong character voice, and that's how quick it is to make a custom annotation. So anybody who's done the old copying and pasting and making notes on PDFs and copying and pasting into proofing reports with Excel sheets, this is the fastest way to work through it, is to do your actual proofing on this page here. And once you get good at it, you can really start. You can almost get it to a 1 to 1.25 ratio of being able to QC in real time. So it's a big time saver. And the last basic thing is the pronunciation guide options. So a feature that we keep making better is this idea of a script preparation or pronunciation page. And what that is from your main project page, there's a button that says pronunciation. And once you hit open suggestions, it will start populating what it thinks you might want on a word list that everyone should agree with before the project starts. So if you want the word cicada on a research list, it says there's 22 mentions of cicada. The first one is on page 14. Add it to your research list, and it puts it up here. And there are two different ways to say cicada, apparently. Cicada, or some people say cicada, I guess. And so if you want to know which one it is for sure,
Cicada.
and the auto one says cicada, but you're like, nope, it's for this book, it's going to be cicada. You would edit the word phonetics and say record cicada, cicada, and then adjust the phonetics. Cicada, and say save. Now, cicada, cicada, you have your own pronunciation. So this, with the counts and the custom recordings and how quickly you can move through all of this, and this is going to look different in a few weeks as well. It's going to streamline even further. But yes, your tomatoes and your tomatoes. Thanks, Steve. This is a great way. You don't even need any audio uploaded. As soon as you put your script in, it starts auto-populating the pronunciation guide. So you can do this as script preparation and prevent pickups in the first place by having a shared place for everyone to go for pronunciations. So those are all of my basics. Now, does anyone have any questions about how this might work with their workflow, positive or negative experiences? Okay, here we got a couple. Steve was first and then Leslie.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
So what are the different kinds of discrepancies and flags that we're likely to get? I noticed that there was one called character voice, and I sometimes do projects that have lots of character voices. How does that work?
So when you have your normal proofer go through and they note that your character voice is wrong, they can add that as a custom annotation. Pozotron will never know.
I see.
And
Okay.
there's another really common one, when a statement should be a question or the other way around.
Right.
That's not something that, since it's not literal, but we have tons of custom notes, so you can add those on your own.
Okay.
What Pozotron does find is missing and added letters and phrases, mispronunciations, stumbles, anything that isn't completely enunciated, contractions, it will catch all of those.
Okay,
So,
thanks.
yep. And let's see, Leslie. Hi, Leslie. Unmute yourself and you can talk.
Got it. Sorry. Thanks. So I don't mean to clog things up if people know this already, but I've never worked in Positron before. It seems evident you could certainly put a project here, but what if you're doing compilations or parts of projects? So shared reading or, many voices in one project.
So it all works exactly the same.
I can load everything into Positron.
Everything will go in there. It doesn't tell the difference between one voice and the next. So if you're making pickup packets for individual narrators, you have to tag them. When you find a pickup by narrator 1, you have to add the narrator 1 tag to them and narrator 2 to another. So you have to have it organized in advance, but otherwise it works exactly the same.
Okay, and if it's just my own narration within a larger project, I could do just mine, for example.
Yep.
Run it. Okay, now you're better than popcorn.
Yeah, there's tons of different ways to use it. Any script, any narration, it finds a way to compare it. And then
Oh my
it's up
gosh,
to
I'm
you.
in love.
Then it's up to you to make the report, make it shine.
Thanks.
All right. So yeah, those are the super basics. I mean, I can talk for hours about more advanced things, but once you get the basic idea of uploading your project, recognizing what you can do with the annotations and the pronunciation page, from there it's a matter of talking to your team about, is it before or after editing and things like that. Yep. Go ahead, Steve.
There we go. So I'm trying to sort of get my head around, the project cost, so are all these different features and functions included in the basic charge, and how is that charge figured?
So everything right now is charged PFH. So however many
Okay.
hours of processing you have,
Okay.
it's on a base rate charge.
Got it.
And
Okay.
we're working on efficient pricing schemes as we speak. The
I see.
COO, Adam Fritz,
Okay.
I think he's still here, or maybe
So
Adam's still here.
so when we start, so starting a project, all we're going to have is the text, because we're starting before any recording is done. Is that
Correct.
right?
Mhm.
So then when we upload the text, does Pozotron sort of take a guess at the what it estimates the length of the project will be going by the word count?
It does
Or
not. It's
okay.
you will only know the cost. You can make an estimate
Yeah.
and do our PFH, but until it
Okay.
gets the audio, it has no idea.
Okay. Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
And Adam has raised his hand. Let's see what he has to say about this. I think your mic is off, Adam.
Now my microphone. Sorry, I unmuted myself and then it actually turned my mic off as well. You're only ever charged when you actually upload an audio file to Pozotron. So when you upload the text file, there's no charge. So the charge only ever happens when you actually process the audio through our system. We are going to be, as Ryan alluded to, making some changes to our pricing plans in a couple different ways in the next quarter, so 2 months approximately from now. But yeah, the only charge only thing you're ever charged for is when you actually upload the audio file. And then in terms of, just not to scare you guys off, it's not like we're going to be doubling our prices or anything like that. It'll be modest increases or modest changes. I wouldn't expect any like material wholesale changes to what you see on our website right now. Thanks everyone for joining.
And all of you, if you have specific questions for me, you're more than welcome to book a short personalized demo with any projects you're working on. All you have to do is shoot an email to ryan@pozotron.com. I love talking to people about what they're working on because it gives us a really good idea of what to work on next. Thanks for showing up, and I will see you all around. I hope this helps your audio production efforts, and thanks again.